Noor is a young guy living in the fantasy world, known for being strong for his age and well-liked by everyone in town. He works a physically demanding job, and even his boss is impressed with his work, never saying a bad word about him because he's the best worker they've ever had. One day, after getting his daily wage, he was heading home when he suddenly heard a woman screaming for help from a nearby cave. Without a second thought, he ran toward the sound, ignoring his boss's warning that it could be dangerous. He rushed into the cave and found a girl trapped in magical barbed wire, while a group of adventurers was fighting a giant demon bull. Since he was a kid, Noor had always taken care of his sick mother and the household because his father never came back with the milk. He accepted the responsibility and began managing the house. His mother was bedridden most of the time, so Noor would make her hot soup, covered in soot, and tell her he was going to hunt rabbits so she could have some protein for dinner. His mother would apologize for not being able to give him anything in life, but Noor, always brave, would reassure her that he didn't need anything. That night, Noor made a delicious rabbit soup for his mother, but when he returned to feed her, she had already passed away. Now, poor Noor had no one left to call family. He buried his mother outside their home and decided not to be weak or cry. From that moment, he lived alone, taking care of the garden, hunting, raising livestock, and studying in his room after cleaning it thoroughly. He trained his body by catching wild fish, carrying heavy loads up mountains, and eating a lot of protein every day. One lonely night, he climbed up on a chair and grabbed an old dusty storybook, starting to read. The stories reminded him of when his family was still together, and his father would tell him tales about mighty adventurers fighting giant dragons, learning magic from wizards, lifting curses from haunted forests, and battling fairy armies. Those stories always captivated him because his father would say that an adventurer's job was to protect the weak and make sure they never got hurt. That inspired Noor to do something with his life, so the next day, after taking care of the animals, he packed up and headed to the city to try becoming an adventurer. He spent nights in the forest with a campfire and, by the next morning, arrived at the kingdom's beautiful city. Entering through the massive main gate, he was amazed by the number of people walking around the marketplace, selling their goods, and others buying swords and fruit in the same place. As he wandered, he saw a man with a sword and decided to follow him, leading him to the Adventurers Guild. He walked inside to find a large hairy man at the reception instead of a thickly bearded girl. Disappointed, he told the man he wanted to become an adventurer, but the guy brushed him off, saying this wasn't a place for kids and that he should think about his parents. Noor replied that his parents had passed away, which caught the overweight man's attention, and he told Noor to head to the training school first. Noor was confused, but the man explained that to join the guild, he needed to choose a school, go through basic training, pick a class, and learn skills. Only after graduating could he become an adventurer. Excited by the information, Noor eagerly headed to the school, aiming to become the strongest swordsman. He enrolled and started swordsmanship training, but even after weeks of practice, while other students were awakening their magical potential, Noor had no magical abilities. He kept at it and months passed, after which the instructor told him he had no talent and was wasting his time there, suggesting he try another school because he clearly wasn't cut out to be a swordsman. Noor didn't give up and found another school, deciding to train as a warrior. He started training under a big red-haired man, but even after intense training for several months, the red-haired guy told him he wasn't talented for that either since all he had learned was how to block attacks. Noor then tried several other schools. First as a hunter, but he was expelled. Then he tried being a thief, but was rejected for lack of talent. Finally, he tried being a mage, but that failed too. Desperately, he even tried becoming a healer, but that didn't work out either, leaving him dejected. The overweight man was shocked to hear that, after spending months in every school, Noor hadn't learned a single skill and told him that, unfortunately, he couldn't do anything to become an adventurer. Feeling down, Noor left the city and returned to his cabin in the forest. But he refused to give up and set up his own training area with a sword, determined to perfect the one move he had learned: blocking and deflecting incoming attacks. He spent his days refining that technique day and night. Eventually, after a year of hard training, he could block 10 attacks at once. He kept going, and after 3 years he could block 100 swords simultaneously, but he still hadn't learned any new skills. He kept at it relentlessly until his sword broke. 14 years passed, and during that time, he realized he had trained every single day and could now block 1,000 swords without fail. Even though he had worked this hard, he didn't gain any new skills but decided to return to the Adventurers Guild one more time. This time, he met a young girl who checked his skill list and suggested he visit the training school. Noor told her he had already done all that, and she was shocked, telling him he didn't have enough skills to become an adventurer. Once again, Noor felt defeated. The overweight man came out, barely recognizing Noor, and they sat down to chat over drinks. Noor told him about his years of training. The overweight man explained that adventurers are ranked from E to S, but even to be an E- you needed at least one skill which Noor didn't have. Noor felt sad, but the overweight man mentioned there was a lesser-known rank below E called F. There were some restrictions for F-ranked adventurers, as they couldn't take killing missions or work in the forests outside the city. They were limited to manual jobs in the city, but nobody really wanted to do that. Without hesitation, Noor accepted and finally got his adventurer's license. He started doing odd jobs around the city, like lifting heavy things, finding lost cats, and continuing his nightly training. He also took on jobs helping the elderly by cooking for them. While doing all this, he kept training and seemed content working as an adventurer who could actually help people. Now, back to the present, the giant bull charged toward the adventurers, knocking their leader against the wall with its axe. Noor rushed to check, but the leader was already dead. Looking back, he saw the others being skewered by the bull as it killed everyone in the area effortlessly before setting its sights on the white-haired girl. Noor's body moved instinctively. He threw a rock at the bull to distract it and then sprinted away. The beast chased him with shocking speed, and Noor realized he couldn't outrun it, so he turned and blocked the bull's attack. To his surprise, his block was so powerful that the bull was thrown against the wall. The monster got back up and lunged through the dust to strike Noor again, but once more, Noor deflected the attack. He realized that if he missed even one block, he would die. He searched for an opening but knew he didn't have any offensive skills to launch a counterattack. His sword started cracking, and the beast turned toward the girl, charging at her. Noor immediately used his featherstep ability, boosting his speed to appear in front of the bull and block its attack again, at the cost of his own sword. He remembered his father's words about an adventurer protecting the weak, even at the cost of their own life, so he stood firm with his broken sword. This time, when the monster attacked, Noor deflected it with all his strength, causing the bull's axe to bounce back and cleanly decapitate the beast before getting stuck in the stone. The girl was shocked as blood splattered across the area, but the magical barbed wire disappeared from her body. Noor collapsed to the ground, staring at his broken sword, realizing how close he had come to death. The girl quickly thanked him for saving her life and asked for his name, but Noor replied that his name wasn't worth remembering and walked away. He strolled through the streets, thinking about how he almost got killed by a giant bull and realizing he needed to train even harder if he truly wanted to become an adventurer who could protect people.